We've set up the name, we've set up the type, we've gone through and connected to our repository, whether it be GitHub or GitLab. Now let's talk about variables. This is something that's very important to us. We have several different scopes here that go along with that don't repeat yourself methodology so that you don't have to keep copying and pasting and duplicating variables everywhere. We have 4 different scopes for our variables. That's going to be at an organization or global level. You can do that at the project level, at the individual environment deployment level, and then you can also put it at the template level, which is what we're doing here. Now we can either do Terraform variables or environment variables for the runtime, depending on what you're doing. If you have a whole mess of variables in your code and stuff like that, and you really don't want to go through and spend the time to do them all individually, then if you hit this little button here, we can always load the variables that you've already got set up from your code, which is super convenient. For this, there's a couple of different types of variables that you can add manually. You can add free text where you just put the key and value here. You can mark that sensitive if you need to, or you can actually go down and set up a drop-down list so that you can have different types. So if you want to say do a size of instance, then you'll come through here and you can say things like large or medium, and it'll just allow you to kind of set up multiple options so that you can select. And this way, if you're doing it and you're scoping it specifically to the template, then you're saying, hey, this is a Kubernetes template, and we're giving you the ability to choose how many pods you want, but you can only select between a couple of different numbers. You can mark that sensitive if you want. If you're doing any kind of cloud deployment that's not with AWS and using assumed role, then you'll need to set your deployment credentials with an environment variable. If you're using those credentials for all of a specific project or for even your entire organization, then you'll want to scope those at that specific section. You can always find those like under organization with variables, under your project under variables, or even when you're deploying or setting up that template. So just keep that in mind that we want you to be able to scope those variables out as far as you can, so that you don't have to keep reusing those over and over again.